So that was the aha moment where we said, boy, we don't have to do a bottom-up approach and provide a technology to these SMBs, these small businesses that are trying to market themselves. Rather, let's go to the manufacturers or the brands, and let's help them to disseminate all their marketing information and actually create a technology platform that was going to make it very easy for these small businesses to market locally.
Welcome to Future Driven. I'm Adam Kopp, and on this podcast, I talk with entrepreneurs and industry professionals about the challenges and the wins in their business. See the vision, drive the future. So welcome to episode 6 of the Future Driven podcast. Today, I'm happy and privileged to have Gary Ritkes on the show from SproutLoud. Did I pronounce that right, Gary?
Got it, Adam.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me today and talk a little bit about yourself and your business.
Sounds great, man. Glad to be here. Thanks.
Awesome. So first, tell us a little bit, where are you based out of again?
So I live down in South Florida. Our company is based out of South Florida, even though everybody's working remote these days. But yeah, we are down right outside of Fort Lauderdale.
Okay, great. Well, you are blessed with good weather mostly year round, right? You got different challenges.
Yes. Yeah, we're very fortunate. I left the Northeast 20 years ago and haven't looked back. Just enjoy the humidity and the hot weather. No worries there at all. It's great year round.
Yeah, because I left the Midwest about 12 years ago, and same thing. As soon as I flew over those mountains to the West Coast, I was not going back.
Yeah, I always told my friends, I said, I'll see you down here about another 20 years. And sure enough, they're all starting to come down.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Cool. So Gary, I would love to, before we get into today and SproutLoud and what the company is today, give us a little quick background on your career, where you spent your time, how you got here.
Sure. My pleasure. So I am a graduate of Rochester Institute of Technology. I studied print and publishing science. So I had a very technical type of degree. I spent the early years in New York City working with major publishing firms and really helping them to create their transition into the desktop world. So I started back when there was CompuGraphic film output devices where they were still doing page layouts for magazines and catalogs and any type of graphic visual communication. I was introduced into the field right when the whole transition was starting. So, we were fortunate enough at RIT, a leading school on technology. We were working with Apple when they first came out with their Mac, with the SEs and all their page layout systems. So my job early in my career was working with these large publishers and the big ones like the Newsweeks, the US News World Report, the Condé Nast, the McGraw-Hills, and I was helping them transition from the old way of manufacturing newspapers, magazines, catalogs, you name it, into the desktop revolution. And I stayed on the technology side throughout my career. I've been doing it for 30 years now, and that led me into managing and building what was then termed pre-press firms, which were companies that were responsible for content creation on behalf of these publishers. So very early in my career up in New York, I was able to build out some of the first what's referred to as digital asset management systems, or DAMs. And I was working with people like American Express and some of the other publishers that I had mentioned. And actually, we built and installed some of the first DAMs that were out in the marketplace. And now you see they're exploding out, 25 years later, which is really interesting. But it's always been on the technology side of visual and graphic communications.
Okay, great. So you have seen a lot of change in the last 30 years.
Yes.
Because you talk about desktop, transitioning from print to desktop. Now desktop to mobile, the last 10 years, right?
Oh yeah. Well, even a couple of steps before that was, traditional media then coming into digital media, right? And as the internet has evolved, and watching how these different technologies, especially in the world of marketing, right? What I specialize in, and you think about the complex amount of, the whole industry in itself and this ecosystem of now over 7,000 vendors, according to MarTech, that are out there vying for corporations' business and how to go to market and utilize different technologies in the marketing space. So it's been just phenomenal to watch the growth of all these different companies over the years attack the market in different ways.
That's great. So that frames up, essentially modern day. I checked out your website. So give us a quick, overview of what SproutLoud is and how it fits into the world that you just mentioned.
Sure, my pleasure. So about 15 years ago, a little over 15 years ago, my business partner, Jared Schusterman, and I started SproutLoud, and very quickly into the formation of the company, we learned some valuable lessons. And what we learned early on was, specifically in working in the jewelry industry, we were introduced to a manufacturer that was approaching the holiday season. And this manufacturer needed to be able to help all of his retailers that were actually selling his product. So we work very specifically in what's called the distributed marketing industry, or the independent reseller channels on behalf of businesses. So, you have your direct side and then you have your indirect side. So when you think about insurance companies, for example, they have brokers and agents that are writing policies on behalf of these big carriers. So we specifically realized through the introduction to the jewelry industry that there was a need to help a manufacturer to be able to market his products through his reseller partners. And what we learned early on was that these manufacturers will actually provide money, meaning co-op dollars or market development funds, to these independent retail businesses in order to incentivize them to co-market with them at the local, at their local marketing efforts, right, in their local geo locations.
Okay.
So that was the aha moment where we said, boy, we don't have to do a bottom-up approach and provide a technology to these SMBs, these small businesses that are trying to market themselves. Rather, let's go to the manufacturers or the brands, and let's help them to disseminate all their marketing information and actually create a technology platform that was going to make it very easy for these small businesses to market locally on behalf of these big brands. And that was the genesis of the company.
Okay, so you're a platform that any franchise can interact with their franchisees and deliver branded goods?
That is correct. You nailed it.
Is it all physical items, or are there also digital services involved as well?
Great question, Adam. So we originally started the business, primarily because we started it 15 years ago, before the internet really, wasn't where it is today. And we were primarily handling direct mail and customization of collateral material, in-store graphics that had to go out to the franchisees. So you see all the window signs, you see floor graphics, in insurance, it would be brochures for the sales reps or the agents. So it primarily started with the physical materials. Within 2-3 years, it evolved immediately into, we saw what was happening with digital, and we built out our email technology. So we took that leap right into the digital world, and then one by one, as the digital technology started emerging, we started incorporating all the digital solutions. So our platform today is, while it houses all of these marketing assets for both traditional media, which might be a print ad, which might be a billboard, it might even be a radio spot or a TV spot, where we'll do a pre and a post end cut. Yep. So if it's a local agent that needs a video on their website and they're representing the Hartford or Aflac or whoever it might be, it could be a cut in of them at the beginning, the brand information in the middle, and then the end card for that agent. So we handle the creation of all of those assets at a very hyper-local level. So when we onboard a brand, we're bringing in thousands of their locations, of their resellers at a time.
Right. Yeah.
And it's everywhere from traditional media to digital media and everything in between, all those different types of tactics.
And so are you specific to any industries, or have you found like some major buckets that you guys prefer?
Yeah, so another great question. We have our technology and our services that is an overlay, and we'll talk a little bit more about that afterwards, is it lends itself to any type of company that has a third-party reseller, right? So
Okay.
when you think about uh, the goods in the world and trade, about 70%, according to a lot of the analysts out there, about 70% of all the goods that are sold are actually sold through partners or resellers,
Okay.
right? So even though you have a huge direct component with a lot of brands going direct, there's still a massive amount of trade actually goes through these reseller partners, whether it's through distributors, wholesalers, or down to these end dealers or end retailers, right? So for us, it's about helping the brand to get through those specific reseller channel partners. And where we found the most success early on was manufacturers are notorious for having big distributors and wholesalers and then sell through dealer partners. So manufacturing is a big area for us. Insurances has been a great area for us as well. So insurance, financial services, health and medical device. So health services is another area when you're dealing with, hospital networks that need to locate doctors, or they need to have operation increases internally that will help them to create collateral very quickly for different locations, right? So I mentioned the manufacturing, the health, the insurance. Franchise is an area. Franchise can go across the board in all the different verticals, right? Because you have so many different types of franchises.
Yep.
And then we have other verticals that we have been starting to test the waters in. We think there's a great opportunity for us in education at some point, and also opening up some additional markets within the corporations that we work with as well in other areas like human resources that really need our technology. We've been finding some of our clients are starting to expand into other areas of their corporation where they don't only need to go through their reseller partners, but they're using our tools internally now to operationalize and build their own internal marketing tech stacks as well.
Okay, great. And so one question I have is, we've been talking about this. So obviously there's the business development to find new clients to leverage your platform, but are you also searching and finding new partners that could be delivering these services? So you have not only the platform, but I guess various partners. Is that kind of the two-prong approach?
You nailed it, boy. You really did your research. I'm very impressed. You absolutely nailed it. So what we really bring to the market is, think about a hub and a spoke situation. Think about SproutLoud as being able to be a hub. Yep. Where we can actually have spokes going out to all different types of marketing service providers, fulfillment providers. So think of Google when we're talking about paid search. Think about Facebook when we're talking about paid social advertising, or even Facebook by directly providing customized content at the local level into their organic business pages, organic opportunities. Think about, we're just now announcing our FedEx integration. This is a big announcement that's happening over the next 30 days, whereby when you're in our platform as a local agent or dealer, you will be able to, if that brand is providing this output, and we've negotiated it with FedEx, you'll be able to have a situation where an agent can go in and customize their materials and then just go to the FedEx office and pick it up. Beautiful. Right? So we're going to be eliminating a lot of shipping, which is usually a big barrier when you're talking about a lot of these small businesses. Yep. So yes, we are that central hub, and then we bring together over already 100 integrated partners, some of the ones that I just mentioned to you. Yep. But then we also have a situation where, because of the size of brands that we're working with, people like Aflac or T-Mobile or some of these big brands, a lot of them have existing contracts that are in place for years with some of these big brands. Right. So we can't come in and be the only provider of all of these fulfillment on the back end. So we will work with them to incorporate their preferred vendors, and we will do direct integrations with those vendors right into our platform. So ultimately, they maintain the relationship with that vendor, with that rate structure that they have in place, but they're able to utilize our technology to order the marketing, whether it's a campaign or whether it's a specific asset, and then it'll get fulfilled through that vendor of record that's already negotiated and contracted with that big brand.
Beautiful. Well, that makes a lot of sense. And obviously your strategy is to make it easy, make it effective so that parent company, if you will, can distribute to their franchises and allow them to do what they do best and not have any barriers of all the way down to like the printing and the shipping that you mentioned as well.
That's right.
That's great. So SproutLoud is 15 years old, you said?
That is correct.
And
is correct.
So give us a quick overview. How big is the company? How many people? You know,
Sure.
what is the culture like at SproutLoud? How are you managing COVID? You know,
Yeah, I love it.
What is 2020, 21, I guess now? What does that look like for you?
Yeah. So 2020, while a very interesting year, happened to be a banner year for us. Very, very fortunate. We maintained our entire staff. We had a couple of situations where we had a couple of people furloughed for a little bit, but we're able to bring the folks back that we needed back. So we're very fortunate in that realm. We had no mass loss, things like that. We've seen everything that's gone on out in the marketplace. We are approaching 200 team members. So we're not a huge business, but we're not a small business either. We've been very fortunate that, believe it or not, since our 5th employee at the company, and I credit this to my business partner, I got an email. I haven't told the story in a while, but I got an email from him. I don't know. We were probably 6, 7 months in, and I get an email saying that I decided to start working on our employee handbook. So, it started way back when, and we're very, very fortunate. We complement each other very well. I was on the sales side and the operational side. He was on the finance side and the product side. And we brought in some great team members. So we're approaching 200 team members now. We have had our executive team for 12 and a half years was 4 people, and they are of our first employees. So our CTO was actually our first hire. He's a partner in the company. Our CFO / COO, who is now specifically our COO, he is with us. I think he was about our number 7 or 8 employee. So that executive team is in place for 14 years now. And then we brought on our 5th person to our executive team, who is our CFO, extremely talented fellow, about 4 years ago. That makes up our executive team. And then our next level of management has been with us anywhere from 7 to 10 to, maybe 11 or 12 years. So we've been really fortunate in that we knew early on, and I credit it to Jared, to have this foresight to make sure that while we were building the company, because we were going in so many directions, you're trying to figure things out. Everybody's wearing a ton of hats. Yep. But he had the fortitude to think about, what does it mean to build a culture, right? So that has been something that has been really inbred in our organization. We put out a painted picture of our company every year. We over-communicate with our team members all the time. Everybody has a dashboard. They have a DRI that they report up to. We don't do any employee reviews because they're being reviewed every 2 weeks with their mentors and their direct responsible individual that they report up to. Proud to say that we just won again, South Florida Best Places to Work. I believe this is 4 years in a row now. So amazing culture. I wake up every day excited to get into what I'm doing, as does my team members. It's just an amazing environment. It brings tears to my eyes a lot of time when I'm speaking in front of our team members, just what they do, how seriously they take this, how important it is for us to be a leader in the industry. And at the end of the day, it all comes down to the people. And when we speak to our brands and our clients, the ones that have been with us for many years, and even the new ones that are coming on, I like to point out in those sales conversations, you're going to see a couple of pretty pretty shiny objects from a lot of different vendors, right? But at the end of the day, it's really just going to come down, are we a good culture fit for you? Are our people the right people that are going to be able to execute on what you need to execute on? And that really has been the success of our company. I'm proud to say it.
That's awesome. I can hear it in your voice and in the way you just delivered all that you really do care about your team, the passion, and you enjoy what you're doing, which is, number one priority, right?
Yeah.
So that is awesome. And thanks for that overview. And so one of the main things that I like to get out of this podcast is what is your leadership style? You talked a little bit about your executive team, and you've gone from obviously one employee up to 200 now, and it's had to adapt throughout, I presume, over the 15 years. But now, what do you view as like your leadership style as you work with your executive team and in the team overall?
Yeah, great question. So what we are so fortunate about is our executive team just complements each other so well. Like, we all know what our responsibilities are. We are all accountable to each other. We lead by example all the time. We have no problem if we've made mistakes over communicating to the company, where accountability is. It falls in, really deep ingrained within our culture. My personal leadership style has always been, I'm a mentor by trade. I love teaching people. For me, the biggest thrill is watching people grow within the company and seeing them have the opportunity to expand and add more value. We are a value-based driven company. So this is a pure meritocracy. You prove what you're doing and you are engaged in this company and you will rise. And people know that. We've learned a lot over the years to be really, really good listeners. And for me personally, again, it goes back to this whole concept of mentoring. So I try not to micromanage at all. What I ask of my team members is, when you have situations, come to me with what your solutions are and let's talk through them. I can provide to you right off the top of my head what the solution should be, but I need to see your growth. I need to see what you're thinking and how you want to respond to this. And many times they'll come to me and I let them fail. And our entire team lets our team members fail. The only thing we ask is that you learn when you fail and you don't repeat, right? And I'm talking about failures that have large monetary implications that have happened in the company. And when you think about those situations, sure, you could be upset. We never raise our voice. We have spirited debates, right? We are very, very professional. Respect is a huge, huge part of my personal business acumen, as well as everybody on the team. But it's about mentoring. It's about listening. It's about, helping them to learn and get better at what they do. And some of the other things that we do within the firm is we set these goals, right? These are on your dashboards. These are the things that we're measuring. Everybody has KPIs. We're working towards these key results within the objectives that we put out within the company. I would probably say my personal style, and you could probably interview most of the employees at the company, they'll say, I'm probably the easiest to approach. And because I'm the sales guy, and I've always been the sales guy, I don't look at things as black and white as others do. I try to make things work. People know that I trust them and I'm non-threatening. So, they get that from other team members, right? They, my business partner and CEO, as he started this company with me when he was 22 years old. He was for a year, he was on one job. And, we've been together now going on 16 years. So this is like officially his real first like major job. And to watch him grow through these years has been phenomenal. And he is nothing short of an exceptional leader, and has really, really, between what we've developed with our entire executive team, it's been amazing to watch, because I've seen other companies and I've grown other companies in the past, but the way we've put this team together and the ability for everybody just to have their own unique position. when I talk about Dave, our COO, they're all smart as a whip. I always say to everybody I talk to, and in front of them, I'm the dumbest guy in the room all the time, and I'm happy to be, right? And what I have, they don't have, right? And they get that too, right? So it's been an amazing journey with this team. And, some are cynical, some are more black and white. Me, I'm just an open textbook. I want you to learn. I want you to be the best you can be, and just very approachable and very open. And you're never going to get harassed by me.
I like that. I like your style. It's assume based on many experiences, and you've kind of formulated all this into the right way and what you mentioned, being a mentor, that's a big part of this, right? Like, because you are mentoring your team, and that's your job as a leader of the company.
Right.
And that's a day-to-day kind of battle. And I like what you mentioned there, that bring the solution and then we'll figure it out. Because we want people to figure out their own challenges and grow, and each time you do that, they get better. So that's great. Thanks for that overview as well. So the final thing that I wanted to talk about is what is the future, right? So you've been doing this for 15 years. You've got to be thinking about what the next move is, because you're not the last person to do it. What is the next 10 years for multi-channel or through channel marketing, I should say? What are the elements? Like, one of the things I was going to ask you, have you already integrated text marketing into your platform?
So interesting. It's on our roadmap.
Yep.
Part of the reason why it has lagged in being implemented, because we are self-funded and because we don't report to investors,
yep.
We report to our clients. So we build the product based on the client's needs. Text marketing, while obtrusive when you're trying to do acquisition marketing, we're not a believer in that. There are some other solutions that do that, but right? We're not gonna pester consumers about that.
Right.
The one area where we can see that evolving, and we've started to talk about it, is on more of the service component. So when you think about the insurance carriers, when they're trying to communicate with their policyholder, right? Or if a contractor's out in the field and they need to send out a quote. But a lot of times that part of the technology is in an ERP system or a different type of platform. Ours, you have to remember, is the type of people that we work with, these rogue businesses, small businesses, and some of them are big businesses, right? We have, in Dish Networks, we have master dealers that have hundreds and hundreds of locations, or T-Mobile, or these master insurance distributors. So they're big, $100 million businesses at the same time. But at the end of the day, these small businesses, they're rogue. They don't have all the things in place, right? So it's a matter of providing the right tooling and technology for them. Case in point, the FedEx integration, all driven from bringing on Aflac as a brand client, and needed that within their agent community. So these are the ways that we've developed, and we have a very, very strong roadmap with a bunch of different things relative to attribution at the local level, right? So how many people are going into a store off of an ad that they drove by on a billboard, right? We can get those kind of metrics to the individual store owners, so we can help them decide where do they need to be marketing. That's our job, right? They are business people that just want to sell while the people are in their store, or they're servicing policyholders. So our job is to provide a way to make it so simple for these end businesses, knowing that the big brands that are providing our solution, are adding value to these businesses. So where do we see ourselves? Great question. There's been a lot of fragmentation in the industry. There's been some consolidation happening over the past couple of years. We're fortunate that we're in a great position and we've been a leader in the space. Some of the big boys are knocking, saying hello to us, and want to see what we're doing. But to be candid, we're very content. We're building a great business. We have wonderful team members. If the right opportunity presents itself, sure, we'll look at it. But right now, we are so content at what we're doing. Our heads are down. Even though we're 15 years in, we feel like we're still a small business, and we have so much more to do. And I'm not ready to stop yet. I got so much more to give to my team members, and so we'll see how the business climate evolves and what happens. But right now, we are so content and so happy, and just blessed that we're in such a great position.
That's great. Well, Gary, I really appreciate you taking the time to tell a little bit of your story and spend it with me. And thanks again for being on the show. And
Yeah.
yeah, appreciate your time.
My pleasure, Adam. Thanks so much. Really appreciate it. Best of success in 21 for you.
Thanks, Gary.